Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something tough, maybe the biggest leadership challenge out there right now. Navigating really intense, unexpected crises in the workplace.
Mm.
I mean, forget the slow burn problems we used to plan for. Nowadays, it feels like, economic shocks, health scares, major operational fails. They're almost becoming business as usual.
They really are. And it creates this incredible tension for leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pulled in two directions at once. You've got
Yeah.
the immediate need for like fast, efficient, decisive action, survival mode,
To
basically.
keep the ship afloat.
Exactly. But then there's the human side, the absolute necessity for genuine empathy, for supporting the people who are caught up in it all.
Mm.
And our goal today isn't just about, getting through the fire drill. It's about protecting the organization long term. And that means protecting your people, your human capital.
So our mission here is to kind of weave together these two threads. We want to look at the solid blueprints, the communication protocols you need, but also blend that with real practical ways to support mental health for everyone, really, from the top execs down to frontline staff.
That's the plan, finding that balance.
Okay, let's start with the organizational defenses, the communication part. Because often the crisis itself is bad, but the meltdown in communication afterwards, that does the real lasting damage, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's where trust just evaporates, commitment vanishes.
So what are the big mistakes, the communication fails that leaders make right out of the gate?
Well, I think they mostly boil down to maybe three areas.
Yeah.
And they often involve a failure of, let's say, vulnerability and timing.
Okay, timing first.
Yeah, timing's critical.
Hmm.
The first mistake we identified is the delayed response. It's so common. Leaders wait, wanting perfect information.
Mm-hmm. Trying to get all the facts.
Right. But while they're silent, that silence gets filled with speculation, rumors, panic.
Yeah, the void gets filled, all right.
It does. So having a prepared protocol means you commit to saying something quickly. Even if it's just, look, we know something's happened, we're working on it,
Yeah.
we'll update you at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Prompt action. Not rushed, but prompt.
Silence is definitely not golden in a crisis. Okay, so you decide to speak. What about what you say? The content. I was struck by how much the sources stressed being authentic over being, perfectly polished.
Yes, that's the second basket. Content failure. Relying on inadequate or inaccurate communication. Look, in a crisis, people's BS detectors are on high alert.
Ah, yeah.
If the information isn't credible, if it doesn't feel authentic, if it's not coming from someone who clearly knows what's going on, it's dismissed instantly.
So transparency is key.
It's your best friend, especially when emotions are running high. You've got to be honest about the risks, give people clear, precise actions they need to take. No jargon, just clarity.
And related to that, a huge content error, one that really hammers trust, is the lack of accountability.
Oh, definitely. This is where that vulnerability piece comes in again, or the lack of it.
Right.
Refusing to admit mistakes, or offering some sort of non-apology apology, that's a serious misstep. You can't protect your reputation by being defensive.
It backfires.
Every time. You have to openly say, okay, here's what went wrong, here's who's responsible, here's what we're doing about it. It hurts short term, maybe, but it shows responsible leadership. It actually speeds up recovery in the long run.
Okay, so we've got timing and content. Now, what about how you deliver the message? We can get the what right, but mess up the how and, well, damage decades of reputation building. Like using inappropriate communication channels seems basic, but...
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
You have to remember, you're talking to multiple groups at once. Employees need one thing, customers another, maybe regulators something else entirely.
Yeah.
You can't just blast an internal restructuring plan out on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Using the wrong channel means the message doesn't land, or worse, it gets totally twisted. You have to tailor it.
Segment it.
And maybe the costliest alignment mistake, long-term at least, is when the communication is not in line with company values. Oh, this one is huge. Continuity matters. If your company website and mission statement are all about people first, family, whatever.
Right.
But then your crisis communication sounds cold, robotic, totally detached. People see that disconnect instantly.
And they feel betrayed.
Deeply betrayed, employees, customers. It makes getting back to normal almost impossible because that foundational trust is just gone.
Okay, one last failure category. The sources reminded us that crises do end, and the final mistake happens after the dust settles.
Right, the failure to learn. Not doing a proper post-crisis evaluation. A detailed review isn't optional, it's essential.
Why?
Because if you don't dig into what happened, figure out where the plan failed, but also what your team did right.
Right.
You're basically setting yourself up to repeat the same mistakes next time, and there will be a next time.
That's a perfect bridge, actually, from the process, the protocol, to the person executing it, the leader, which brings us squarely to the human element. This tension you mentioned earlier between structure and, well, soul. Making tough calls efficiently, but doing it with empathy for a workforce that's probably scared stiff.
It really is the tightrope walk of crisis leadership.
Yeah.
You absolutely need both. You can't sacrifice one for the other. Empathy, well, that's your foundation.
How so?
It's what builds trust, psychological safety. Think about it. Employees are worried about their health, their jobs, their families.
Yeah.
An empathetic leader actively listens to those fears, acknowledges them, doesn't dismiss them, and provides real reassurance through actions, maybe offering mental health resources, flexible working, just checking in.
Okay, but here's where I stumble a bit. If you're spending all this time listening, reassuring, doesn't that slow things down? What if the company's bleeding cash and you need to make cuts now? Isn't there a risk of like paralysis by analysis fueled by too much empathy?
That's a fair question. And that's where the efficiency side comes in. Efficiency is non-negotiable for survival. You have to make quick, decisive calls, prioritize ruthlessly, focus your resources, no question.
So how do they coexist?
The key insight, I think, is that empathy isn't the opposite of efficiency. It's actually the catalyst that allows efficient actions to be accepted, or at least understood, by the workforce.
Ah, okay. So trust makes the hard stuff possible. It lubricates the efficiency machine.
You could put it that way, yeah.
Mhm.
Leaders need that vulnerability we talked about to maintain their authority through the tough times.
So how do they integrate these two? What are the strategies?
Well, first, transparency and honesty. Being open about the challenges that builds trust, that's empathy. But it also clarifies expectations for the difficult road ahead, that's efficiency. Everyone knows what they're facing.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Second, delegate and empower. Trusting your team, giving them ownership. That shows respect. That's empathy again. But it also speeds things up. Decisions get made faster, closer to the ground, by the people who know the situation best. That's pure efficiency.
And the really tough one, when you have to deliver bad news, layoffs, budget cuts, things that directly impact people's lives.
You make tough decisions with compassion. It's not about avoiding the decision. It's about how you execute it.
Meaning,
Meaning you explain the why clearly, honestly, no spin, and then you proactively offer support to those affected. Severance, help finding new jobs, maybe retraining opportunities,
Yeah.
whatever you can reasonably do.
so you're mitigating the fallout.
Exactly. You lessen the negative impact on morale for everyone, including those who stay, and you maintain the trust you need to keep the organization moving forward efficiently.
Okay, let's shift gears now and focus specifically on the people experiencing the crisis. We need concrete strategies for keeping morale up in these high-stress situations. Let's start with remote teams. They can feel so cut off when things get chaotic.
Yeah, remote work adds another layer of complexity. The big risks are isolation and ambiguity.
Right.
Feeling alone and unsure what to do.
Precisely. So for isolation, the key is frequent communication. Think daily video check-ins, even short ones, or at least structured weekly team calls. You almost have to over-communicate to make sure people feel connected, feel seen.
And tackling ambiguity.
That means eliminating guesswork. Guesswork wastes time and kills motivation. So managers need to set clear goals and expectations. Tell people exactly what needs to be done, what success looks like, video messages, clear written instructions, whatever it takes.
So clarity fights the ambiguity.
Yeah.
What about keeping people motivated, feeling valued?
That's where recognition and growth come in. Even small things matter. Publicly acknowledging good work, maybe using a kudos channel on Slack or Teams, celebrating small wins, and offering growth opportunities, even simple ones. Virtual lunch and learns on new skills, for instance, which
Yeah.
shows you're still investing in them, helps them feel valued.
I have to ask about the virtual team building stuff, like happy hours. Sometimes they can feel a bit forced. What makes them actually work? That's a good point.
Yeah.
The key is they really need to be voluntary and genuinely non-work focused. It's about maintaining culture, creating that informal
The
space.
virtual water cooler.
Kind of, yeah.
Mhm.
Just unstructured time via video where people can connect as humans, not just colleagues, no agenda. That's crucial for keeping that team spirit, that social glue intact.
Okay, now let's pivot to a different group. Employees dealing with really high trauma situations. Thinking about first responders, healthcare workers, people on the absolute front lines. They face this relentless chronic stress that can build up into burnout. What are the signs leaders need to spot?
Burnout isn't just having a bad week. It's a serious cumulative condition. We generally look for signs in three main areas.
Okay. What's the first?
First is emotional exhaustion. It's
Yeah.
feeling completely drained, hopeless, maybe irritable, physically just depleted, like there's nothing left in the tank.
Wow. Okay. Second.
Second is cynicism and detachment, developing really negative feelings about the job, maybe about colleagues or the people they serve, pulling away, becoming distant, even from loved ones. Kind of like a protective shell, but a harmful one.
And the third area sounds like it directly impacts their ability to do the job safely.
It does. That's reduced performance or a sense of inefficacy. The mental fog that comes with chronic stress makes it hard to concentrate. Mistakes increase. They might lose confidence in their own abilities.
And if that goes unaddressed,
Well, sadly, people often turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms, trying to numb the pain, maybe with substance abuse or other risky behaviors. It's a dangerous spiral.
when a specific traumatic event does happen, the timing of psychological support seems absolutely critical. Can you contrast the immediate help versus the later, more processed interventions?
Yeah, the timing or the heat of the situation dictates the approach. Right in the middle of it or immediately after when things are hot, we use psychological first aid or PFA.
And that's not therapy.
Definitely not therapy. Think of it more like emotional first aid or triage. The focus is purely practical, ensuring safety, meeting basic needs, helping people feel calm and grounded, connecting them to immediate resources. You're basically stopping the bleeding, not doing the surgery.
Okay, so PFA is immediate stabilization. What happens when things cool down a bit?
Then you can move towards things like crisis debriefing. This happens typically days or weeks later, the warm or cool phase. This is a specialized intervention, usually group-based, designed to help people process the event's impact, emotional, physical, how it affected relationships, and start developing coping strategies.
And there was also mention of an immediate support huddle, often run by senior staff within, say, 48 hours. What makes that effective?
Those huddles are really important for immediate peer support. The absolute ground rules have to be no hierarchy, no blame, zero.
Right, safe space.
Totally. The only goal is comfort, checking in, making sure everyone feels okay, normalizing the stress reactions everyone's likely feeling. Senior staff are there to facilitate, check the mood, make sure practical needs are met, like has everyone eaten, got away home, can they rest, before people potentially go back on duty.
Okay, this leads nicely into our final section. Beyond immediate responses, how can organizations build long-term resilience? We looked at fostering ongoing peer support programs, creating that sense of belonging and being understood. We found three main models.
That's right. Peer support is incredibly powerful for long-term well-being. The first model uses volunteers, employee champions. Think of Google's Blue Dot program as an example.
How do they work?
These are regular employees. Maybe they get some basic training in things like compassionate listening. They act as visible wellness advocates within their teams. They promote well-being events, model healthy behaviors, help chip away at the stigma around mental health.
What makes them successful? Seems like a lot for volunteers.
They need dedicated time allocated for it, real support from leadership, and recognition for the effort. It can't just be an add-on to their day job.
Got it. Okay, model two sounds a bit more formal.
It is. These are employee resource groups, or ERGs. These are more structured, employee-led groups focused on shared interests or concerns, and increasingly, mental health is a big one.
And they work with HR.
Yeah, often they collaborate directly with HR or leadership. They might push for standardizing positive mental health policies or roll out training like mental health first aid across the organization. They work on systemic change, really normalizing these conversations company-wide.
Okay, and the third model was really interesting. It leverages personal history. Peer navigators.
Yes, this is quite specialized. Peer navigators are professionals, but the key is they use their own documented lived experience, maybe with past mental illness or recovery from substance misuse, to provide support.
So they've been through it themselves.
Exactly. They offer non-clinical support, mentorship, guidance. The power comes from that shared experience. It creates instant empathy, deep trust. They embody hope, showing that recovery and a high-functioning life are possible. Constructive disclosure is key here. They are living proof.
Wow. Three distinct, powerful ways to build that support structure. You know, this whole deep dive really brings it home for me. Navigating a crisis truly demands like having two hands working together. You need that firm, solid structure, the prepared protocols, the clear communication lines. But you also absolutely need the flexibility and vulnerability of compassionate human leadership.
That's the duality. Perfectly put. And it helps to remember the three phases: preparation, response, and recovery. That recovery phase isn't just about getting systems back online. It's just as much about supporting the people dealing with a lingering emotional impact, and crucially, taking an honest look at how everyone, and the organization as a whole, actually performed under that intense pressure.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. That honest look often happens through an after-action review, or AAR. The whole point of an AAR is learning, not blaming. It focuses on what was supposed to happen versus what did happen, and importantly, what your team did right, where they showed strength.
Essential process.
So, if every crisis is, as they say, an opportunity to learn, think about your own team or organization. What specific insight maybe about your team's hidden strengths in communication, their cohesion under pressure, or even unexpected leadership emerging? What insight would you absolutely insist gets captured and acted upon in that final AAR? Something to really think about.